Look who it is, everybody!
How you doing?
The rolled R of the greeting.
Bringing it back
absolutely.
to the Andertons homestead.
Absolutely. Well, Rob is back, as you can see, for a couple of days in Andertons. So we're going to shoot a few videos that we'll release over the next couple of months or so. One of which I think we are revisiting our very first ever video. So we're going to do a Gibson Les Paul Standard versus an Epiphone Les Paul Standard.
Yes.
But maybe blindfold this time. Maybe less slashing.
Pick a sense, Lee. I'm happy to have anything removed. I shall still smite.
But this first video is a challenge we've done with many of our guests over the last couple of years, but not with Rob yet, which is the tense situation where 20 minutes before Rob has got to jump on an aeroplane to go and do a gig somewhere in the world, all of his guitar equipment has been lost, damaged, whatever. In fact, it's probably quite a real scenario.
Well, I just phone you. Lee, can you help me, please? Send me some stuff.
So this is, Rob has £1,000 to put together his pretend gigging rig, but it's got to be a real, you know, this is a real gigging rig.
At an advantage with the currency, because if it was euros, I'd be a little bit down. You know, if it was wooden ingots, I'd be slightly less too. So the sterling is helping us out.
The sterling.
Yes.
Well, look, we aren't going to even do the whole iPad thing. Rob has scoured our website, been round the store, and already chosen a slightly different... He's gone a little bit John Connon on us, and I'm not talking Terminator John Connon, I'm talking Digital John, which surprised me a bit. And you'll be pleased to know we've got 3 or 4 guitars that Rob wants to sort of compare. So there'll be a bit of a comparison here.
Well, I kind of half cheated in as far as when I was at the NAMM show recently with Chapman guitars, I asked a few of the artists that I love, respect and admire for their opinion on some of the new gear that had come out, because I'm a little bit very out of the loop on all the new stuff that comes out because I'm on a tiny island in the middle of the Mediterranean. Poor me.
So let's pick the product that you've decided to go for your guitar amp.
Well, it's the Universal Audio Lion, and I have wanted to own one of these since it first came out. For me, I went out and I got the Vox one. Was it the Scarlet or was it called?
The Ruby.
The Ruby.
You're talking about, it's the Universal Audio version of a Vox amplifier.
Yes, sorry. I went to Sweetwater and they let me try it out, and then I immediately got it and I thought, this is amazing. And on the Brian May setting, it was like blowing my mind. But you know me enough to know that all I ever want is that kind of cranked up plexi tone, and this allegedly delivers this in spades.
I have no objection to your preference for Marshall over Vox. I would agree with you. It's much more your sound. Is this a purchase of necessity and convenience? Yes. Or is this a purchase of, I genuinely think now this is the better way to go than amps?
It actually kind of both. Because, I mean, in Malta where I live, I have a JCM 800 2203 stack. I have, you know, Victory amplifiers, 3 of them. I have katanas. I have all sorts of stuff. And on the island, I could use those. But when I normally gig now, I'll be going to Norway, or I'll be going to Greece, Kavala, or I'll be going to all sorts of different places. I have to fly in an EasyJet, and you can't fit them in the overhead. So I often borrow gear, but my experience of borrowing gear, although they're super friendly and lovely and they do the best, and they provide me with some cool stuff, it isn't always what I wanted. And then I have to kind of try and work it out. And when I was at NAMM, Chris Robertson said, "Y'all got to check this out." You know what I'm saying? And I was like, all right, I probably should check it out. And he said, "It's life-changing." That's how he said it. It's life-changing.
Well,
and I thought, well, look, if Chris Robertson from Blackstone Cherry says it's life-changing, probably it's quite good. And I can fit that in my little man bag, or bum bag, little bum bag.
That's what Universal Audio need to bring out as the accessory, is the man bag. Yeah, absolutely, the UAD man bag.
And because it's on, off, or it's 2 settings, I figured out that I could have my favourite tone and then that louder with maybe a bit more gain.
So we'll listen to that in a minute. Obviously, in the studio here, we're just going to plug it direct into our interface, and Rob's going to hear it through our Genelec 8040s. 8040s? 8040s, they are those, yeah. On stage, though, obviously the real question here is not how are the audience going to hear you, because they'll hear you through front of house, which is fine.
Yeah.
How are you going to hear yourself on stage? What will you hope that the sound man can provide?
So I always have to wear in-ears because I sing. And the problem with singing is that there are cymbals generally behind me. And if I'm using wedges, the frequency from the cymbals just massively interferes. And then I can't focus on what I'm doing with the guitar and the vocal and marrying the two. So the in-ears are a must. Although I much prefer wedges, but it just is what it is, you know. So I would need this going into my in-ears and then out through a giant cohedra, pentagon dragon breathing fire onto the audience.
Well, okay, so that's 350 of your £1,000 budget gone. Again,
that's not bad for a plexi.
no, I think that's an interesting one, and I like the fact as well we haven't gone down that well-trodden path of Boss Katanas and Bugera valve amplifiers, because that's what most guests
That
choose.
would always be my backup option.
Yeah.
In fact, on YouTube, on one of my own videos, I said, hey, I'm going to do this kind of video. And people said, please don't choose a Katana again.
Yeah.
And I said, well, probably now. I don't know whether that would be my first option for a clinic run or whatever. Probably this would be.
And you know where the Katana would still come in super handy as well is loads of people use the power amp input on those to just monitor there.
Yeah.
So you could still have a Katana as your wedge on stage, as your... so you can hear yourself. All right.
Oh, that's still great.
So we're going to get that plugged in a minute. There's two other pedals that you've picked to go with this.
Yeah.
One in the front, one in the back.
Be careful, my father's son over here.
This is true. What have you chosen?
So, well, I cannot play without reverb. I tried.
I can't either.
No.
I feel for you.
I need I need the sound of an imaginary room to make me feel like I'm existing in a space. So this is the Heavenly by UAFX, and it's a plate reverb. And I have a huge fondness for plate reverbs. I think they're so beautiful. I want a real one.
Oh, wow, real plate.
Yeah. I've got a friend called Adam.
I don't think I've
Adam
even
Lee.
seen one. Sort of, they're enormous, aren't they?
You can get smaller ones, the size of a British radiator.
I
don't
so
know whether
not small. As
No,
in still
like
quite big.
a proper double radiator.
Right.
And you can remove your radiator and fit a plate reverb there, have it mic'd up in a hallway in your house.
Wow.
And then you can feed that into your... Because I'm thinking about doing that in my new house on Gozo.
So that is going to go essentially after the UA Lion and before the mixers. No effects loop on any of the
there's no loop.
No, but again, so Universal Audio going, well, but it's, it would be completely normal in a studio environment to put reverb after you've mic'd your cab up. So that's essentially what's happening.
Of course, because this isn't a cab. Oh, it's a cab emulation, though.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're going that. So what you're having to do here, and it'd be interesting if you. I haven't experienced any downside of this, but essentially, yes, we are putting reverb on the emulated speaker sound, not reverb in between the preamp and power amp.
Well, I'm going to have to see how that sounds because I'd never do that ordinarily, but I'm open-minded.
Yeah. I think if you're talking about how studios would apply plate reverbs to dry guitar sounds, that is what they would do.
I don't know why, but in my head I just had the Fruit Stomp videos that we used to do, and I'm thinking, this is so much more of a more professional video kind that we used to do.
Some would say it's sad, for the worst.
Bada boom, it's a Spark.
Trusty,
which is another kind of green box. Little it's a green box kind of thing.
Probably no real drive though in the Spark. The Spark is more of an EQ boost a boost with a bit of EQ. Rather than but that would be perfect into the Lion.
Well, I'm interested to know if the Lion senses the push and reacts the way that the preamp valves would do when they are pushed by. That
was the verse from the In the Jungle song that they never released. Got cut, that one.
Right.
It was In the Jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. Whilst thinking about whether or not
the input valves were pushed by a Spark.
Yeah. What was that band? The joke would have been better if I could have remembered what the name of the band was.
No, but it's right, because every single person watching this video now has that tune forever stuck in their heads. Until something else takes over.
There you are. I know you love a comment in the comments section. So who was the band? What was it in the jungle, the mighty jungle? The Universal Audio Lion sleeps tonight.
I don't know, but I do remember.
Anyway, right, come on. We digress. So let's get this set up and let's get a sound, and then we'll look at the 4 guitars that Rob has selected.
Help.
So here is the rig that we've set up. So the first guitar we've picked is this very cool looking paranormal single pickup Telecaster.
Can I admit that I did a little bit of eye shopping on the Andertons website, because I got given the budget for this particular video, and I thought, oh, that's not a lot of money. I'm going to have to see what I can find, and immediately went to the T-Type section of Anderton's wonderful website. It's a very good website, by the way, and found this paranormal series. And they do two really cool guitars. One of them, which isn't at the store, unfortunately, which is the Nashville, which is this gold 3-single kind of beautiful looking session vibe. And this is all about me. It's simplicity, less is more.
Yep.
One bucker, a thing that does that, and 2 knobs.
I can't remember. One of these will be a coil split. The other will be full humbucker. And honestly, I don't know what the third one is. So we'll have to just work it out.
We'll find out when I start playing it a bit more.
Now, interestingly, we've potentially found some features in the Lion that may even make these other 2 pedals redundant. So the first thing that I'd forgotten was in the Lion is a boost feature, which you can dial in as part of your preset tone. So you could absolutely have one preset with less boost and one with more boost or whatever. So actually, but we're going to keep the Spark, I think, for now, because it's always handy, I think, just to be on the sound you're on and feel like there's a
You want to have more on tap if you really need to have more.
The reverb thing, I actually remember this now from the Lion demo that Pete and I did, and it's kind of, I'm not actually sure. I think it's quite an annoying feature on Lion, or annoying that it's not more accessible. So the basic out-the-box room reverb in the Lion is very much just a sense of air.
Space, yeah.
It's not a hall reverb or a plate reverb. It's like it's just making it feel a bit more natural sounding. However, for some reason, if you go through the artist presets on the app, some of those presets, Universal Audio have obviously gone, oh, go on then, have a reverb. But you can only access that reverb on that preset.
Yeah.
So what we've set Rob up here is, so the red button is a sound that we've got on you that we like from the pedal with using the room reverb. The green preset was a higher gain artist preset
that's the brown,
we liked.
Isn't it?
I think it was called Lion 6.
Line 6, yeah, that's it.
Not Line 6, Lion 6. That just coincidentally has some nice reverb on it. So we may or may not need the Heavenly, but so for the first sound, let's just hear your basic red tone with no Spark, no Heavenly.
And also a good opportunity to show the difference that this perceives from the input volume. So
that sounded like the full bore
Yeah, I know.
to me all the way, which I guess makes sense, like all the way up.
Yeah.
If you roll that volume down and you go for a much cleaner, maybe picked piece, I think that's potentially where it's nice to have that heavenly
you would want
reverb.
a bit of Heavenly. Can I state it sounds amazing?
Yeah, I would absolutely put the reverb pedal here as in 97% of the situations. I'm not actually sure you need this.
Yeah.
I think if you that's almost like if people are watching this going, oh, this looks like a great rig for me, I would make your own decision. Do you like those massive ambient reverb sounds? In which case, get yourself a reverb pedal. If you just want like normal run-of-the-mill
The thing
reverb,
is,
don't worry about it.
Talking from a live perspective, The kind of reverb that I want when I'm at home is like
Yeah.
super and self-indulgent,
Yeah.
you know, lots of, I don't want to hear any mistakes I'm making and
Yeah.
lots of, you know, stuff. But when I'm playing live, you can't have that. It
Yeah.
just drowns out. You're going to get reverb from the vent. So I normally, when I'm playing live, have like a little bit of self-indulgence reverb in it. Someone should make a pedal called the self-indulgence.
It's a great shout.
But live, you can't have too much verb.
I'm feeling like then we could sack the reverb pedal
I would
off,
sack the
go
yeah.
stereo out of the Lion. Why
Yeah.
not? And then, I don't know, you've got £200 to
Yeah.
spend on something else, or just...
I will say this is probably the first time that I'm playing through a digital product, and I'm the bit of my brain that goes, it's digital though,
Yeah.
isn't firing off. And I think a lot of it isn't just in the tonality; it's in the interplay between this and the pedal.
My comment with the Lion when we played this was it replicates the sensation of an amp being loud when it's not loud. And that for
Yeah.
me was whenever I've done digital stuff before,
Yeah.
you get a tone which you go, do you know what, it sounds fine, it sounds like the amp. But if you're listening to it through relatively small studio monitors and it's not that loud, I miss the loudness.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know what these guys have done. They've somehow made it feel loud, even though it isn't.
You've summed
it's
it
very
up.
clever.
The experience, if you've ever recorded in a studio where you've got a live room with your rig in it and you
Yeah.
are in the control room, I feel like I'm in a control room listening to a feed from the live room. That's what it feels like.
It's very clever. Anyway, look.
Can we put it on the fun side?
Let's go stereo first, and then that
Okay.
way people will hear it in all of its glory. Right, well, we haven't changed anything other than literally we're now stereo out the Lion. So you're welcome now to start sort of deciding. You can try the other channel. You can now start comparing
But
guitars.
so, just to compare the channels. So at that point is when you go, I'll have a spark on that.
It feels like the two channels, the second channel's just a tad more gainy and a bit brighter, isn't it?
But
It's not-
we could obviously add more to it if we want to. So because this is dimed, isn't it? I think this particular one.
So the whole Lion, every amp in here is based on those 4 input Marshalls.
Yeah, yeah.
So the assumption is they're all dimed.
All right.
And this is the normal channel and this is the high channel, or one way around is the other.
Can I just say what a privilege it is to enjoy the experience of being guided through a product by Lee Anderton. I'm loving this experience. So I'm just going to give it a bit more of the dimage.
Yeah. I'm just throwing it out there. Before you save that, I actually thought it sounded better before you started tweaking it. So
It's got a little bit fuzzy.
But that's fine because we haven't saved it. So we'll just literally, we've
All
now
right.
got the preset back.
Yeah.
Use that for the boost, I think.
It's not so the spark isn't making it fat and fluffy and too much sag. I love this sound.
It's a great sound.
It's really. Can I have a little bit more level in the room? Is that all right?
Of course you can, yeah.
Just a scotch. Good God, man.
Well, So right now, okay, so we can on and off it. That's quite clever as well. So right now, we've probably spent well within your I think we might even be under 800 here. So
well, especially if we don't need that heavenly.
That's what I mean, with no heavenly.
Yeah.
So
should we try one of these other guitars?
Try some guitars. So we've got, essentially, you've got a sort of a modded Telecaster from the Paranormal range, a traditional Tele from the Classic Vibe range. Oh, this hybrid weirdo Stratosonic thing, which is
wraparound.
Wraparound.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember that. Wraparound P90 Strat body.
I remember the first time I described the guitar. Let me try that wraparound.
And over here we've got an alternative.
Oh,
to Fender.
let me try that one.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? The G&L I think is a bit wild card and will only come in under £1,000 if you don't have the heavenly.
It sounds great, but it's thick and not as bright.
It's funny, isn't it, that? So we've got, these are MFD jumbo single coils from G&L.
Right.
So probably P90-ish.
Yeah.
So potentially less gainy than the humbucker that's in there, but I'm surprised.
But interesting that therefore it is less bright.
Yeah, but again, in fairness, we got all the sounds that we liked with this guitar.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be a surprise that we're having to re-EQ to get sounds we like with each different guitar.
Yeah, this almost has more output.
It does, doesn't it?
So yeah, do it. Much prefer the feel of the neck. Don't prefer the sound.
Yeah, funny, isn't it?
It's a little bit fuzzy.
There's a good G&L video on our channel actually that Pete and I recently did, going through all of the different ASAP models. Because these are great guitars, and you might want to find out more. But anyway, I am slightly inclined to agree with you that actually at this stage, I preferred the single pickup Paranormal.
It's the spiritual power of that Paranormal.
Might be. It might just be it's the one that we spent the longest dialing in the tone with, and so therefore we got most used to it and most found the tone of it that we liked the best.
This feels great.
Sounds good too.
Sounds really fat and warm.
What's the backed off kind of tone on this one like?
I have a feeling it's going to be good, but not as good as that original.
Oh, it's much cleaner. I think I prefer the backed off sound.
You prefer it? Oh man, it's got some beautiful sounds.
Interestingly as well, if the single coil hum annoys you with your higher gain Marshall sounds, there is a noise gate in the Lion that you can enable if you want, which I don't think we have.
Is there anything they didn't think of? So it's got boosts, it's got reverbs,
it's got noise
gates, it's got a whole bunch of plexis and cabs.
Yeah, and it's got a whole bunch of famous people using it as well.
And we're in stereo. It's got Chris Robertson going, we've got to try it.
Yeah.
Let's try the other guitar then.
All right, so this is hyper traditional, just ye olde fashioned 50s style classic vibe telly.
Oh man. Hell, mate, that's mad.
I'm just going to say this is the no Sherlock comment of the day. That's the one that sounds most like a Telecaster into a Marshall. It's almost like, wow.
That sounds so good.
It does, doesn't it?
What a weird timeline I'm on. Stick.
It's funny, isn't it? How I don't know. It felt like I want to give the G&L more time because I know it's a great guitar. But then there's another part of me just going, you have to go with your first. Like, just that first 5 seconds is often the most reliable.
But what's the difference in price between that, which is very good, and this?
These are all about the same price.
Oh, all right, okay.
So I'm not... just plug that in again, and let's just decide whether humbuckers are just the way to go,
But you can split this, can't you?
I tell a lie. Right, I've remembered. Okay, it's single coil.
Yeah.
Humbucker going through the volume and tone stack.
Blow switch.
Blow switch.
That's why I couldn't turn it off.
Yes. Right. As soon as you did that, I remembered.
Right, so look, blow switch always sounds best. And Phil's right, talking about Phil X here, the less pickups, the better, because it doesn't pull the strings and stop them from doing their thing.
Another subject that the internet wants to argue about all day. But
listen,
yes.
If you want to tell me that Phil X doesn't know what he's talking about, have another think. Phil X knows what he's talking about. So blow switch is great, love it. Currently working on that on a Chapman. Single pickup, brilliant, always loved it. Simplicity, room for the hand to do its thing. That sounds monster. The Spark has always been great. Didn't really need a reverb pedal, but it sounds nice if you use it. I like this sound, but I want it in that guitar.
You know what though? I think that's the coolest looking one.
Yeah, it does look really cool. I mean, look, you're going to get laid holding that on you. Let's be honest. I mean, that's how I got married. I don't know about you, but I mean, this is the one. You start strumming that down. Wah!
Here we go. Back to the real reason why every 13, 14-year-old boy actually learns to play the guitar.
Yeah.
Hopefully we've grown out of that a bit by now.
It's got the awesome tuners where you poke it down the hole and then
this one?
wrap it. Oh yeah, it has.
So's that one.
Oh yeah.
Well, I have to push you on this, Mr. Chapman. You need to grab your things and go basically to your gig.
All right. So look, in that case, I go with the best sound. So I'm taking this guitar, I'm taking the Lion, and I'm taking the Spark or any green box.
Yeah. Congratulations.
And this Polytune 2 is really good too. Does the job.
Well, there we are. That is the end of video number 1. Rob has chosen his rig. So yes, you will see Rob at a gig somewhere outside of Malta soon with a Lion and a Squire paranormal Telecaster.
Come in, special price on the line.
The links for all of the products that you've seen in this video will be in the description below. They're all available from Andertons. So yeah, knock yourself out if you've seen something that you like. Cheers, Rob. Laters. Oh, I think you got...
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.